So moving on to our final, third panel. Two more panels to go, folks. This is you're certainly getting your value for money. It's like I think this is actually a free event. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So we have a panel of young people who are going to join us now to share their stories with us. And the panel is called Prevention and Early Intervention, Addressing the Needs for LGBTQI plus young people. So I'm joined now. Let me see. We have Emma Whitty and Paula Kelly, who are from the LGBT plus project Health Workers, and they work with an organization called FDYS. So they're joining me there. There's Emma and there's Paula. Loving the hair, Emma. Loving the hair. Did you do
You.
it especially for today?
Oh yeah, just for today. Just
Yes,
for
okay, okay,
yeah.
fabulous. Okay, so we're also joined by, I'm not joking, a clatter of young people. It's like you guys went around ring bells saying, "Young people, come for this panel discussion because we want to talk about LGBTQ, to talk to young LGBTQ people." So we are joined by Kayla James, Sophie O'Brien, Jayson Pope, and Ruan Walsh. Are you all there? There you are, looking stunning. Thank you so much for joining us. So first, I might go to you, and we're going to try and keep this as brief as we can. As you realize, we are running incredibly and horribly over time, so we're going to try and limit this discussion to at least within half an hour if you can. And I really appreciate your support in doing this because I hate interrupting people. That's one thing I noticed since I've made the transition from being a journalist to a psychotherapist. I find it practically physically impossible to interrupt people now. As a psychotherapist, so you have to just keep talking, just keep talking. Okay, so Emma, tell me a little bit about FDYS and what do you do? You're in Wexford, aren't you?
Wexford, yeah. So FDYS is a large voluntary youth organisation in Wexford. We have a variety of services covering the whole county of Wexford. And part of those services and youth projects that we provide include the two LGBTI plus youth projects, one in Wexford Town and one in Enniscorthy. The one based in Wexford Town here has been in existence for nearly 8 years now. Started as a very small, secretive kind of a group and has evolved into a very open, large group of over 25 young people. This year there was an identified need in Enniscorthy town. So we have since January started an LGBT group in Enniscorthy as well. So it's really, really good. And basically what it is, it's a drop-in LGBT youth cafe style of thing. So young people come together in a safe, non-judgmental and open space where they can be their authentic selves. They can speak to youth workers. We do a range of activities throughout the year. We attend Pride. And it's just a safe space for them to be who they are. Sometimes it is the only space and time in the week that the young people feel that they can just be themselves. So they're really, really important in terms of early intervention and prevention.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Emma. Over to you, Paula. So how long have you been working with the organization? And I suppose what do you want to tell our participants today?
Okay, you're gonna make me feel old now.
I'm sure we're all look how young our panelists are. For Pete's sake.
I know. I suppose I've been with FDYS for I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years. I really don't know. And I'm working with Emma on in Enniscorthy on Wednesdays with the LGBTQI plus group, as she just mentioned. I am genuinely not sure how much I can add to this group because it's been absolutely amazing, wonderful stories. But yeah, there's certain things that have sprung to mind, I guess, and it's kindness really. I mean, we can't force people to be kind. We can't force people to be accepting. But I really do think that there needs to be some kind of structural shift, and that needs to be one around education. So if whilst we can't afford force people to be kind and accepting, we can ensure that there is mandatory training in every single walk of life, and particularly those places where young people are accessing. simple things, like I think it was Eddie, one of the people who was on a video earlier, mentioned, and that's signs, and it's something I'd written down the other day when I found out I was going to be on here. I've had young people comment, and I know it's really simplistic. I do think there needs to be massive shifts at a bigger level, but if we're looking at the micro pieces, I just think even something as simple as a rainbow. I've visibly seen young people like that. Okay, so this is okay. So I can be here. So I can express. So I can talk. And the shift is huge for young people with just something simple like that that's displayed in a window, on a door, or wherever it is. So yeah, I think that the most qualified people here are going to be these young voices that we're going to hear. So with that, I'm going to just shut up.
www.zip.com. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Paula. No, because it's absolutely true. It's just something as simple as a little rainbow can make such a difference. And not just physically, but even on websites. This is one thing I noticed years ago when I was looking for an LGBTQI plus affirming mental health support service for me. I really had to go searching in the website, it's like that. It was like kind of hidden. It was like, oh, by the way, we also do this. And I remember feeling, I don't feel really comfortable going to an organization that doesn't seem to be proud enough to display the fact that they are providing services that are LGBTQ affirming, that they are allies. So over to Sophie and Kayla. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you joining us from?
You from our school in Wexford. That's why we're wearing masks, because we can't socially distance properly while being on the same phone. And I'm 17 and I'm bisexual, and I go to
Yay!
in a sporty group with Paula and Emma, and I've been there since it started, which is a long time now. And I really enjoy it. It really helps me a lot, not gonna lie.
So am I right? You're Kayla, is it, or you're Sophie?
I'm Sophie, and
you're Sophie. How old are you, Kayla?
I'm 17 and I'm just gay.
Are you just gay or are you super gay?
Super gay.
Okay. Where's your cape? Where's your cape? So what's it like to be bisexual in your school, Sophie?
There's a lot of stigma around being bisexual in our school, particularly. Like, I remember when I first kind of came out last year in school, a lot of people kind of told me I was greedy and that I wasn't allowed and I had to pick a side kind of thing. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, this is normal. And like my family as well, we're kind of saying, like, my family, a lot of them are kind of really religious and Catholic, and you can't be doing that sort of thing. And the only person who really, really supported me was my nanny, and she's like nearly 80, and she's like the religious person you would ever meet. Like, she goes to mass online now because she can't go to mass in person. But she was kind of the only person who properly told me, like, it's okay that you're like that. Like, if you brought home a girl or a boy, I'd still give them dinner. I'd still give them a hug when they came in, like I do, because I've got a boyfriend, and she, like, literally, he's like another grandchild to her. So
it sounds fantastic. We all want a granny like yours. Does she want to adopt any extra grandkids? I want to put my name forward, please. And what about yourself, Kayla? What's it like being gay where you are and in the school? Did you have trouble as well?
At the start I did, because I think a lot of people didn't believe me because I went out with like lads, and first they're like, no, obviously you can't be gay.
But you were just doing your research, Kayla. You were just doing your research, right? Before you made an educated choice.
And I think another big thing was, like, all the girls in like PE are getting changed and stuff, would be like, oh no, don't look at me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't like everyone I look at. So
don't flatter yourself.
That was a huge thing. So, but I think they've become more accepting than they were.
Yeah, they've become more accepting of, like,
me, definitely.
But like, there's still, like, there's a lot of people who are still really stigmatized around being bi, because I still deal with it on nearly a daily basis. So
it's like, pick a side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing. That stuff that you guys are hearing, like bisexuals have been hearing for decades. Like I've always felt like bisexuals nearly have to ask permission. Can I march as part of the Pride parade, please? Because yeah, and I know so many lesbians who would have been friends and would have literally stopped being friends with their bisexual friend when they started dating a man, because they're like, oh yeah, now you're not a lesbian anymore. Now you're one of them. And you're like, what the heck, So it's really sad that kind of mentality is still really ingrained. So I'm just gonna move over to Jayson. Jayson, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good.
Where are you joining us from, Jayson?
My house in Sutton, in Dublin.
Lovely. So tell we've met before, Jayson.
Yes.
So tell our participants a little bit about your story, and this is the always awkward question. I don't know why we can ask young people this, but how old are you, Jayson?
It's fine. I'm 21. I have been out as trans since I was 14. So kind of whack. I realised that that's a third of my life now. Bit nuts. But yeah, I've been out as trans since I was 14. I've been attending BelongTo services since I was 14. So I have kind of just, been involved a while. I'm obviously no longer in secondary school because I am 21. I'm in UCD now. I was doing my essay before this. That's what I was doing this morning. And yeah, that's me. That's what I do.
And no, because you're a veteran now because you've been attending BelongTo for a number of years. And have you seen any changes yourself in your own experience around, I suppose, just how trans people are perceived, and of course access to services?
Yeah, I think that when I was in secondary school, I saw a lot of differences between I was not the only trans person in my school. I was not the only trans person in my year, but I saw a lot of differences in how different trans people were treated, especially from people who were my friends at the time. They would have a tendency to misgender trans people they didn't like. They wouldn't do that to me because I was their friend, but they'd do that to somebody else and stuff like that, where for a lot of people, I was likable and I was, friendly and stuff like that. And I wasn't like those other trans people who were mean, which wasn't fair on other people. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to be likable and friendly, but other people kind of correcting people on their pronouns and stuff like that, wanting to be respected, asking to be respected, doesn't make them mean, doesn't make it unfair. And I saw that a lot of kind of disparity in how people were being treated. And in terms of services, obviously the biggest thing that I access is BelongTo services, and I think that their services are incredible. I've always really valued BelongTo services. I think they are kind of one of the biggest kind of benefits that you can have as an LGBT young person in Ireland. You can access a service like that where you're going to be respected, you're going to have support. It's very meaningful, and it protects kind of your mental health in that, because you are around other people who understand what you're experiencing, you're around other people who respect you, and that you can go to that space and just chill out, be respected, and feel comfortable.
It's huge, and it's so interesting how you're saying your friends would make an effort with you, but not so much with people that they didn't know, and that kind of reminds me. Even I remember speaking to a migrant years ago about how when you are when you move to a country, you make friends, people start viewing you as one of them. And you're no longer a migrant, you're my friend, and I suppose we are then in a position of, I suppose, privilege, because now we're accepted, but then we have the responsibility to keep reminding our friends, hello, I'm still a migrant, or I'm still trans, so that means you need to treat everybody the way you treat me. You can't just it becomes a bit elitist then, that you have this differential treatment for people that are in your circle of friends. Moving on to a next person, Ruan Walsh. Where are you, Ruan?
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. Is it morning? At this stage, I feel it's like.
I still feel like it's morning. I'm very tired.
And so, where are you joining us from, Ruan?
I'm in Dublin as well. I've also been with BelongTo for 5 years now. I started when I was 16. When I came out as trans, I was the only person in my school at the time. So if it weren't for BelongTo, I probably wouldn't have known anyone else who was trans. So it's been huge for me.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, what was it? So, let me ask you about school. What was that like to be the only trans person in the school? What that was some pressure you had on your shoulders, Ruan.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot
What's
in
that
terms of,
representing?
yeah, in terms of just kind of representing and like as well trying to get the facilities that I needed. Socially, it was pretty hard as well. Very isolating, and as well just a lot of sort of like unacceptance from other students and stuff. Like I remember getting an apple thrown at me, which is a very weird thing to do anyways. And
It hurts.
just
Apples are
very
hard.
unusual things. I think one of the funniest stories to me is when I first came out to my earhead, she asked me if I would change my name to something more similar to my birth name to make it easier on other people. And I was like, well, no, that's my name. You can't just ask students to change their name. That's a bit weird. So it was a lot of kind of like teaching everyone myself as this 16-year-old who's there to be a student, teaching people who are years older than me, have more training than me, how to properly facilitate me.
And did you feel you had to like automatically become an advocate and an activist, a trans activist?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was already sort of involved in activism through BelongTo, but I did kind of feel like I was having to do all the work, and I kept being like, you can get in touch with these people, you can get in touch with Tenny and BelongTo, and they would just be like, well, we can just ask you, and I would be like, okay, but I have things to do. I have a leaving cert to try and pass, and it was just a lot.
You have a life.
Yeah. Yeah, I do other things.
Yeah. And Sophie and Kayla, just to bring you back in the conversation, did you feel the pressure to have to educate people around you, like your friends or even the teachers in your school?
Yeah.
A lot.
I feel, well, I came out as bi first, but I felt like I had to tell people that no, I don't like every single person in my year. You don't need to like steer clear of me, like, don't worry. So that was kind of a big thing.
And like on what Jayson was saying about how his friends would treat him fine and then they wouldn't treat other people fine, that's kind of the same in our year. So
Yeah.
like there's 3 people that are after coming out, and out of the 3, I'd say only one of them is treated perfectly fine, like everything's fine.
Yeah.
I think due to popularity,
Yeah.
because the like most popular, well, not most popular, but he's very popular, is gay himself, and he's okay with saying that he's very out. But he's treated perfectly, like no one cares. But like I'm not popular, but I'm not popular, so people are like, oh, I don't really care,
And I'm really not popular.
so people don't really respect as much.
Yeah, like I would say out of the 3, I would get the least amount of respect, not just because I'm bi, but also just because I'm not that popular in my class.
Yeah.
Right, I'm coming down to school now. Right now, I'm coming down to school now. This is unacceptable.
I have the youth group, because like I'll go to the youth group and then Emma and Paula will be there like, what's up, Sophie, how are you doing, how are you getting on? And we'll have like a whole, like last week's group we had a whole rant about what was going on in my life, the whole group, just because I needed to, which was really helpful. So.
But seriously, I need to know what the name of your school is, because I'm coming down to give a talk. Okay, this is happening, whether they like it or not. I'm going to show up. No, because I just had flashbacks, while you were talking about being popular and not popular. My God, Paula and Emma, I just, I wouldn't go back to my secondary school or my teenage year if you paid me. And it's just heartbreaking that these issues haven't changed. It's still around. It's still the I suppose, focus on the popular kid and unpopular kid, and of course that's all going to impact on mental health. If on top of that you throw in gender and sexuality.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think when we think about what young people go through in general outside of their sexual orientation and gender identity, and then pile that on top of things and the lack of respect and understanding and awareness that can come with that, we would notice quite a lot in the youth groups that, you know, the impact this is having on mental health, on young people's mental health, the lack of acceptance and awareness, which is why we place such an importance on weeks such as Stand Up Week in terms of raising awareness in schools and in terms of visibility. I know Meninia spoke earlier about, you know, the stats on the school climate survey. 77 or 73% of young people still feel unsafe at school. It's absolutely not okay. And this is where they have to spend 5 days of their week. And this is why, in terms of, you know, the one-to-one supports that we offer within the service, is really a really, really helpful space to get to know and to meet the young people where they are at, and to maybe highlight some extra supports and services that are available, and equipping them with that information so they can make the decision for themselves to get that extra support if it's needed. You know, there are certain points in the year that the one-to-one services will be so busy that, you know, people are on waiting lists and stuff. And we're talking about early intervention and prevention. We need to be able to prevent this from happening before we wait for something to happen. You know, rather than having waiting lists and creating a huge demand on mental health services, we need the services, we need the resources to be able to deliver these one-to-one supports, to catch people early where they're at and to offer them the supports that they need. And we need more open and visible LGBT friendly youth spaces. That's what we need.
Absolutely. I'm just going to go over to the comments and questions. There's a huge amount of support here for you, for the young people. Everyone is just blown away by just how confident and articulate you are. Ejiro Ogbevon, I hope I pronounced Ejiro's surname right. I'm appreciating the power of the flag that feels so simple and powerful. If possible, I would like to know what the figures are in relation to Black LGBTQI+. Okay, so that's definitely a question that would have been from the previous panelists, but I'm sure we can provide that information. Let's see. This person is called New Mammal. Yeah, that's what I got here. There's a question for you, Ruan. Do you feel that what you have done has made a difference for future trans students in your school? Hell yes.
I would hope so. I have to say I don't know. I moved. The school was around the kind of Blanchetown area, and I've now moved to Rathfarnham on the south side. So I don't know anyone who goes to that school, unfortunately. So I don't know, but I would hope that maybe it's gotten a little bit better. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, because even you would have brought it to the into the awareness of teachers, you know, so they would.
Yeah, at the very least, there's a little bit of experience there. And I believe the schools had management changes since I was there as well. So I really can't say, but I would really hope so.
Me too. I'm no doubt you have done. Linda says a very articulate discussion from younger members of the LGBTQ community. So thank you so much. Joanne says, my heart is breaking that these young people are facing such bullying in today's society. Absolutely. As I said, I need to know the names of these schools. We are all going down there to sort them out. Idel Mitchell says, great to hear from the young people on their perspectives. Neve Mooney says, sending the greatest amount of love, admiration, and respect to this wonderfully youthful panel. Thank you for being yourselves and living proudly as your true selves in your everyday lives. So many of your peers in schools, college, and in your communities are watching you, and they're lucky to have all of you as role models. We are lucky to have you as role models. What support can us, fellow LGBTQI+ community members, do to show you our support now and as you age? Yeah, exactly. So what can us older LGBTQ folk do to support you?
I'm taking liberties with this question, but I'm going to have thoughts. Which is that, like, one of the things that I found very common as like a trans teenager was that a lot of trans people who were adults, you know, understood their own needs, understood their need for services, their need for transitioning and stuff like that, but had a lot of ignorance around the needs of trans young people, and not necessarily just ignorance, but like not wanting to know about trans young people. And that was really frustrating for me at the time, knowing that, like, you know, at the end of the day, I was going to grow up to be a trans adult. I was going to become that person as an adult, but those people didn't want to help me very much. And granted, that was not everybody by any stretch of the imagination, but it's frustrating to see sometimes trans adults who are very good advocates for themselves, but will actively kind of put down trans young people and our needs because they are different. There is a different need there, and there is a different conversation there about respecting trans young people, facilitating trans young people, and understanding that trans young people have like the ability to say, I am trans, I know I'm trans, and I need to be respected.
And the fact is, LGBTQI plus people can be ageist as well. This is the often misconception that people have, that just because you're LGBTQI plus, you don't have any prejudices. Of course, we have prejudices, and whether it's someone who will look at you and say, like, even when I was reading comments, you're so articulate, you're just so wonderful. That is lovely and supportive, but it also maybe could be a bit patronizing. It's like, well, you're a young person, yes, you can speak. And so and then the other way around, when you have older LGBTQ people will say, sure, you're out of the loop, you're over the hill, all that. So we need to be mindful that everyone's experience is valid, and you all matter. So we need to support each other, for sure. And just from a mental health point of view, Sophie and Kayla, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing sharing talking to us today, and knowing that you're in a period of your life where you have support, but there's also, you're constantly, it feels like you're battling through it. How are you coping?
I feel like you have to be in a bad place up first, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like you're put on a waiting list for however long, and that waiting list could be too long. Speaking from personal experience, I was on a waiting list, and they said it could take up to about a year to get seen, and I did not know how to deal with this information, and things got very bad very rapidly, and I ended up in hospital for 2 weeks, and then I did get the help I needed because I was only seen as an emergency. But if that hadn't have happened, I would have been sitting isolating myself for the next year. So I think that's just ridiculous. Like, I know there is very little, and everyone is trying to help, but the waiting lists are insane.
Yeah, like me and Kayla we were talking about this while we were on mute. On last night, I got I've been I've self-harmed before and stuff like that. Like, I don't have a great track record. But like last night I tried calling a number that my mom got for me, and they said they couldn't treat me because I was under 18. So then they referred me to another number, and they said they couldn't treat me because I was under 18. So then I got referred to a third number, and this was at like 9 o'clock at night, and they said that they couldn't help me. So they then just said, ring your doctor, because we can't give you advice because we're not properly trained to help under 18-year-olds. And I was kind of in there, and I was like, right, well, I don't have time to be calling the doctor. Like, I'm in school, I'm in 6th year, I'm trying to study for a leaving cert, and I felt really stressed at that point. I don't feel as stressed now. It's like I feel better now, but like last night I wasn't. And I didn't get the help when I needed it, and it was really frustrating because I was kind of just sitting there, and I was like, oh, this isn't going well, kind of thing.
Sophie, you're human. You're like this world. Can I just say, as adults, we're struggling. With everything that's happening and having to adjust with what's going on in the world. But you, as a young person, you have to battle. What's happening to your body. Then you have the pressure of the leaving cert, for God's sake. That drives me bananas. I really don't understand why we have to put so much pressure, academic pressure, on kids. You have all that, and then contend with what you're going to do with the rest of your life. That's a lot of pressure. So you're only human, and you're going to feel it. So and like, because you said you don't have a great track record when you talked about self-harm. You're just reacting to what's happening in your environment, how you're being treated by your environment. And can I just say, in relation to getting support, just at Inside Matters, we have a number of child and adolescent therapists, and they work online. So we're not a charity, but we do our best to meet people where they are with their budget. Because we went down the route of not looking for funding, because I couldn't keep filling out application forms and then being rejected. I just thought, look, let me try something, create something sustainable. There are a lot of private services that are doing their best to try and kind of help you till you get till you get someone in the service to support you. Maybe you might consider getting some immediate support from a LGBTQ affirming service that works with young people. And just that question to Jayson. You're now navigating college and doing essays. I'm in my third year as a training as a psychotherapist, so I've got 6 assignments coming at me, and I'm like, yeah. So how are you coping, Jayson?
Honestly, I'm pretty good. Like, one of the things that I've enjoyed a lot about college is I do sociology and social policy, and I'm in my final year now, but I get a lot of opportunities to write about the things that I've been learning, but from an LGBT perspective. I recently wrote an assignment about hate crimes and how police deal with hate crimes in different countries and stuff like that. So stuff like that, where I get to actually explore academically the stuff that I'm interested in as an LGBT person myself. And in that sense, I've enjoyed it a lot, even though it's heavy. I enjoy it, and I'm not exactly chuffed at the amount of words I have to write before Christmas. Not exactly ecstatic, but they'll get done and it'll be fine. It's certainly not as stressful as the Leaving Cert, I'll give them that.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not that bad. It never gets that bad again.
At least you can think about that. If you get over this, Kayla and Sophie, life will never be as bad as it is now. It gets better. Hang in there. And Ruan, we're running out of time. How is your mental health, Ruan? And what do you do to look after yourself?
I'm quite well, thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I think someone said earlier about going for walks. I've been trying to do that all through lockdown. Go kind of just wandering around, listening to music and stuff like that. And I'm really lucky that I have amazing friends, and I'm lucky enough to live with my partner and his family, and my own family are very supportive. So having that network, and then of course, sorry, I think someone's just blown their nose in my house. As well, having the network of BelongTo and knowing that there is a youth worker available for they have a service called Monday Chats, where it's literally just you go in on a Monday and you have a chat with someone about everything and anything, and it's great knowing that can be booked at any time. I can reach out and get that. That's a real big help to just know the services there.
Amazing one. And finally, Emma and Paula, you must be very proud.
Yeah. I mean, always they just show up. They're real, and they do exactly what it says on the tin, kind of thing. It's just there's no nonsense, and privileged really to be a part of their lives, and hopefully a positive part of their lives where they can just be themselves. Jayson and Ruan, the first time I've met you both, but you spoke very well, and delighted to meet you. And Sophie and Kayla, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks a million.
Any final words there, Emma?
Just thank you so much to all of you, Jayson, Ruan, Sophie, Kayla, all of you at the panel. I would like to share a quote that a young person, when we were writing our LGBT strategy for FDYS last year, I'd like to share a quote that I think really captures the impact that the youth services and groups have on young LGBT people. So this young person said, instead of walking into a room full of people and feeling like a stranger, I can walk into this room feeling accepted, visible, and that I matter. I think that really captures the impact of it.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you. So Emma Whitty, and we had, Paula's name has gone out of my head. Where's Paula Kelly. Thank you for joining us. And of course, the young people who literally stole the show. Thanks very much. You had everyone speaking up until now, but you have totally stolen everyone's thunder. So, and thank you very much for doing that. So Kayla James, Sophie O'Brien, Jayson Pope, and Ruan Walsh, thank you for joining us today. And stay well. And remember, it gets better. Okay, just hang in there. Yeah. Look at me. I'm married 10 years. I've got 2 small kids. Love my job. Have an undercut. Life is just great. Okay. I know, keep talking about my undercut. It's gone. I keep saying I'm losing my lesbian superpowers.